From NBC News, this is Today with Campbell Brown and Lester Holt.
Chris, thank you. Imagine going into the office and it feels like anything but work. More companies are shedding the traditional, rather stuffy corporate atmosphere and are instead choosing a much more casual path to office productivity. Take a look. Cranium is the maker of the game for your whole brain. The Seattle-based toy company opened its doors in 1998 with one aim: to create games to bring families together.
I'm the Grand Poobah.
Its fearless leader is 42-year-old Richard Tate, who also wanted to bring employees together.
$3 million!
Tate's philosophy is simple: make a workplace that inspires creativity and passion to make great products. A workplace where hard work is always recognized.
Awesome job.
Titles are out, nicknames are in, from the Grand Poobah on down.
You have to take the mission, the business purpose, and also create a culture that reinforces everything that you stand for.
Forget cubicles. Tate designed his office space like the Cranium board game.
So, Cindy, why don't you move that game piece? $3 million.
I think it takes courage to say we're going to paint that wall red. I think it takes courage to say we're going to put a juice bar in the lobby that has whiteboard material on it so that people can brainstorm and draw. We brainstorming? Yes. Over lunch.
Over lunch.
Tate says it's this unorthodox approach that's propelled Cranium into a multi-million-dollar business.
We wanted it to be creative, we wanted it to be fun, we wanted it to be playful, we wanted it to be a place where people would enjoy coming here.
You wake up in the morning and instead of thinking like, oh, it's Monday, you just think, I'm going to go hang out with great people, talk about great products.
Tate thinks his Maverick-like vision can work in any business environment.
So I'm actually not advocating that everyone should be like Cranium. I do think that there's a way within every company that you could have a little bit more fun and make it more playful and engaging, because frankly, that's where the great ideas are going to come from.
And a lot of folks right now wondering, how do I get a job there? Well, here to tell us more is the co-author of Mavericks at Work, Barre. And Barre, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And you point out Cranium is one of several companies you mentioned, ING Direct, Craigslist.org, and you call these companies Mavericks. Explain what you mean and what sets these kinds of companies apart.
Well, not surprisingly, Mavericks don't fit one mold. They can't all be as outrageously fun as Cranium, I'm sorry to report. But they do have a few really important things in common. First and foremost, they don't just think about making money, they think about making a difference. They don't just sell competitive products, they stand for important ideas. Behind every Maverick company is a really distinctive and disruptive sense of purpose.
Now, does that translate? Does that attitude translate into profits? Does it become a good business model? Because in the end, it is about making money.
They're always about creating a high-performing company, but they're also about advancing a cause. Take ING Direct. You mentioned the fast-growing internet bank.
Right.
Here's a company that doesn't exist just to open checking accounts. They exist to lead America back to savings. And every business decision they make is based on that value system.
Trying to be different. Craigslist. Does Craigslist even make money?
Oh, absolutely. It's a great business. I mean, here's a really simple business model, an online trading post that has become a worldwide sensation, again, based on its value system, not a lot of resources, not a business plan.
But you go on the website, there's no fancy logo. I mean, it's a very simple website. They spend no money.
They're really cheap. They just got started, and they adhere to what they call their nerd values.
But they got a little added to it. Now, you see, the key to working like leaders in these companies is not about experience or an MBA. I mean, we're talking about companies, but how do I bring that attitude to a traditional, workplace?
Well, it's not about a ton of resources or having a really slick MBA-approved business plan. It's really about having an idea you're passionate about, having a fire in your belly, and then just getting started, staging an experiment, and rallying the troops around your idea.
So you can do that even within a traditional company. You, as an employee, you argue can take on some of that attitude?
Absolutely. We met a bunch of Mavericks inside large traditional companies, and they had a few things in common. And one was they asked really tough questions about the organization. They got support. They enlisted support from their peers, and they staged experiments. They just tried things without permission or without a budget, really.
Right. You wrote this book, obviously, before the big deal this past week with Google and the YouTube. And I wonder, something like YouTube that sprang out of nothing, would that qualify qualify in this kind of Maverick
Sure, you know,
area?
18 months old, no profits, tiny revenues, but they did the Maverick thing. They didn't just look for a market opportunity, they looked for an opportunity to make a difference, and they've kept experimenting on that experience ever since. So I think they could be a Maverick down the road.
All right, Polly, interesting discussion. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
We appreciate having you here.